with the talk that I'm giving you today, honoring the seasons of your life, because there is a season. And every season means there's a change. And yes, I was going at that time of that song through a season of my life that was rather drab and ugly. And for $10, I'll share the details with you. But okay, see me afterwards. But it meant a lot to me, and thank you for sharing that, Joel. But to everything, it says in the book of Ecclesiastes, to everything there is a season, a time for every purpose under heaven. So, depends on the season that you're in, what your purpose is going to be. We're in the fall season, of course, and it just shows us that change is always happening. In fact, change is inevitable. Change is the only real thing. The only thing that never changes in this universe is change. And we can learn from this change, or we can be buried in it. I think our ancestors long ago, in the northern hemisphere at least, and perhaps in the far southern hemisphere, learned to put on clothing when the wintertime came. And it was a question of being prepared for it, I understand. But something new and something different always wants to happen in our universe, and it does. Just think, winter is almost upon us. It seems hard to believe today with 80-degree temperatures in the offing, but just 2 months ago it was hot and muggy, right? And 2 months from now it'll be cold and icy. So there's an inevitable change that comes to us. I was watching something on TV a couple of years ago. It seems like there were all these high school kids in Chicago, and their idea was not to accept winter at all. And so I guess for the winter, they went around with T-shirts and flip-flops and shorts in the Chicago winter. So they were saying how many kids had come down with frostbite in Chicago because they just wouldn't accept that they had to do something different. Well, every season in our lives is a reminder that change is normal and that we have to find something in that change to appreciate and something that we can do with our lives. You see, I believe that we came here to this three-dimensional world where there's up and down and in and out and hot and cold and negative and positive and good and bad and all of the contrast. Because in that contrast, it enables us to have change. It enables us to make a choice. Do I want this or do I want that? And that choice is our capacity to create in our lives the kind of life that we would like to have. So it's a reminder that change is normal and that we can be a learner. So what I'm going to ask you is this. No matter what you want in this life, a healing, a revealing, a new job, a new car, an understanding, a new love life, whatever you want in this life means that you're going to have to be a learner. You're going to have to learn something new, something different that you can apply to your life. You're willing to grow through what you learn with a learner's mind. This is why I think that Jesus said in the Beatitudes, the meek shall inherit the earth. The meek. Now, if you look up the definition of meek, especially in Old English, and go back even to the Greek, we've kind of said, well, the meek is the, if it's okay with everybody, can I have this? That isn't meekness. What meekness is, in the original meaning, was teachable. Isn't that interesting? That means, you have to be humble to be teachable. You can't have all the answers. You have to be teachable. So when Jesus says the meek shall inherit the earth, it's teachable. And a learner is teachable. What we're learning in our law of attraction class is that you have to become teachable to the notion that what you may think it is, isn't. What you may think it is, isn't. Because this universe is so huge, so incredible, so many different frequencies of vibration, so much information that we can't even imagine, so many universes within universes within universes. What the physicists tell us, it's so huge and so big, and you're connected to it. Every one of us then can learn something to create in our lives. We have this power, what it is we say we want. So, I love this quote by Eric Hoffer, who wrote a book years ago called A True Believer. Does everybody remember that book in the 70s? Or some of you do. Some of us are a lot older than the rest of you. So anyhow, it says this: in times of change, learners inherit the earth, while the learned find themselves beautifully equipped to deal with a world that no longer exists. You know, the learned, the ones who have all the answers. And we have to go back to the old ways, like in the old days. Well, I want to tell you, the old ways in the old days weren't that great. Do you understand? So, we want to go back to horse and carriages? I don't think so. I don't think so at all. So, to be a learner is to be a lover of life, in my estimation. So to be a learner is you have to look at life and see, where am I not loving something? Because the universe works on love. In the Bible it says God is love. Well, life then is love. And if you're looking at something without love, you're not looking at it the way God looks at it. You're not looking at it the way the infinite quantum field of all that is looks at it. You prefer those words? I don't mind God. Someone said to me once, well, I wish you wouldn't use God so much. It reminds me too much of when I was a Baptist. I'm okay with it. You should be too. It's just a word. But God, I love the fullness of it, the totality of it. God is all there is, Ernest Holmes said. That means that everything and everyone is all of this energy that we call God or life. And you are one with it. There's one life. That life is God, and that life is my life now. That life is your life. That's an powerful, incredible statement that Ernest Holmes used years and years ago. And people went, huh? You have to understand that you have to be a learner and learn that life is what I make it if I am in this life, and this life is what I am. I am one with God. Therefore, I am one with this incredible power to create everything in my life. I can't change other people. They've got their own business to take care of. But I can change the way I think about myself, and I can change the way I think about life. But you see, if you're going to be a learner, you're going to have to get past the notion that somebody else is doing it to you. Anybody here ever have anybody else do it to you? Besides John, I mean. Okay. John and I have fun, for those of you who are wondering what that's all about. I'll pay you later, John. But in times of change, learners inherit the earth. That is, Learners are the ones who get on with it and get to learn and get to grow and get to shift and get to change and get to see new adventures and get to have more fun and more life and have more success and more love and more joy and more things to find joy about and better shoes and better feet and better lives. Amen? We live in a time of great change. And I believe the great change is because something new wants to be expressed in this world. And it always does. But right now, something new wants to be born in the human condition. And I think the great change is asking us to start looking at ourselves and looking at others and looking at life with love, with our hearts open to the possibility that we can learn something new, that it doesn't have to be the old way. It doesn't have to be their fault. It doesn't have to be that somehow or another life is bad. It isn't. It is your perception. It is your idea. It is the learned thing that you learned somewhere down the line that said there's more to fear, there's more to doubt, there's more to life, the badness in life, than there is the goodness in life. Well, I'm here to tell you this morning, that's false. That's bull. That's all I'll say. It's BS. Belief system. So we live in a time of great change, and it's up to us to change. It's up to us to see there's more to life. There's more that can be. And there's more joy and more love than we can even imagine. Every change that happens to us, especially some very painful ones, is there for us to make a better choice. Shall I say that again? Because I want you to understand, when we feel pain, when we feel bad, when we have something in our lives that we don't like, it simply says to us, dear one, make a better choice. Make a better choice. Try to see that there's life and there's love in this life. See, it's a choice to go with the flow rather than against it. It's a choice that's going to make your life so much better by changing and using that choice. And it's a choice that's based on appreciation and gratitude and love. This life we all live truly is magnificent when we start seeing it that way. Knowing we can change, and as we grow and as we create, there's always more that can be. Don't settle and think, well, I'm only this way, I'm only this way, I'm only this way. This is the way life is. No, it isn't. Life is always so much better than we can imagine. Always. Reminds me of the story I came across of a lawyer who called a plumber to fix a leaky pipe. And the plumber repaired the leak in exactly 1 hour. And he presented the lawyer with a bill, a very large bill. And the lawyer protested. He said, oh, I'm a lawyer, and I don't get that much money for an hour's work. To which the plumber replied, come to think of it, when I was a lawyer, I didn't make that much either. See, we can all change to meet what to do what we can do to be happy and prosperous. Now, you know, here's the thing about being learned. I know more than I did 80 years ago when I first came to Nashville, 80 years, in the 1980s. True. In the 1980s when I came to Nashville, it was a little town. I remember I had an office down on Music Row, and I lived out in an apartment in Antioch. And you know where Antioch is. In those days, it was a 10-minute drive to downtown. Yeah. And people would say to me, "You live way out there in Antioch?" Yeah. So a lot of changes in Nashville over that period of time. But I found out something. Over the years, I learned more. I read more books. I do more things. I know more now than I did in the 80s. I know more now than I did last year or even last week. But you know the truth? The more I know, the less I know. The more I know, the less I know. Well, why? Because there's an infinite number of things to know. And if you think about that word infinite, it means limitless. Limitless. See, this thing, this idea that we call God is limitless. This sea of quantum energy that you live in is limitless. It has the information in it for everything that you could possibly imagine. For anything that you could possibly imagine. It has that information in it for you to be a success at whatever you want to be a success at, for you to have the love of your life, for you to tap dance if that's what you want to do. It doesn't care. But you have to make that choice. And then you have to love it enough to follow through on it and see what it can be for you. And I'm going to say this. What I have found in the last few years is this. It's your feelings in your heart that determine the kind of energy that come from you. And therefore, that determines the kind of energy that comes back to you. So most important and more important than anything is to get a feeling of love, a feeling of gratitude, a feeling of compassion, a feeling of joy. Those feelings. And here's something else about those feelings. Scientists at the University of Harvard and of other places have determined there is in every human brain a so-called Enlightenment Circuit. That is, when those things like joy and love and gratitude are present, this part of the brain lights up. And they found that the more people are grateful and joyous and loving and compassionate, it lights up and all the nerves in there strengthen and become new and more and more and more until it becomes habitual to us to go there as we practice it. What does that mean? It means you're turning your body into love. I know some of you want to turn your body into love. Say this, I am a love magnet. Do you feel like it? One more time, I am a love magnet. Yeah, I like the way you say that. So yes, I found out that I know less and less and less. See, I want you to understand something. What you have at your disposal, what you have on your side. I got this quote from Mike Dooley, you know, the guy with the Notes from the Universe guy. He said this, and do you know that the universe has about 46 gigatrillion powerful options, shortcuts and function, friends, allies and confidence, secrets, solutions and answers, ideas, inventions and dimensions, angels, wizards and fairies, engineers, strategists and specialists, plotters, planners, diagrammers, nooks and crannies, and hideouts and games and adventures and thrills and stories and legends and fables and flavors and scents and melodies and pleasures and pleasantries and passions, eurekas, cowabungas and yeehaws, and don't even know about what can make your life simpler and happier and zippier. I love that, zippier. Don't you want to make your life zippier? I do. So the choice is, can I become a learner? Or do I already have my mind made up that life kind of sucks? and I do in it. Now, I don't mean to say that to bring anybody down whose life sucks right now, but I want to tell you, it's just a season. It's going to pass if you learn from it. I've had those in my life, and I know that it passes. But I learned something. I learned that if I love, if I appreciate, if I have compassion for others and for life, if I encourage joy in my life, the season goes quickly and a new season begins. A season that matches those things. I am a learner, and I am always willing to learn wonderful new ways to live a sumptuous life. I came across that word sumptuous the other day. You like that? I love that word. I looked it up, and it really means very rich, as in, Ben & Jerry's ice cream is very sumptuous, right? And luxurious, rich, abundant, joyful. So I am a learner, and I am always willing to learn wonderful new ways to live a sumptuous life. Are you willing to? Well, then say this with me. I am a learner, and I am always willing to learn wonderful new ways to live a sumptuous life. Yeah, you got to put your body into it. I am a learner, and I am always willing to learn wonderful new ways to live a sumptuous life. Yeah. The world that exists now for you can be as wonderful as you are willing to make it. Because listen again, you are making it up. You are making up this world with your thoughts right now and your feelings. So just a little shift in your feelings, just a little shift in your thoughts can bring you to a totally different world. And you can have this world the way you want it to be. That's the promise of the science of mind and spirit. That's the promise of God. That's the promise of this life. As I said in class, repeating that verse from the book of Matthew, with God, all things are possible. And you know where God is in you? Right here. 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 Right here, right here, and right here. And where else? I think some of you, I don't know. Where else? Everywhere. That's it. So, I'm going to end with a quote by Robert Louis Stevenson, the great writer. He said, wherever we are, it is but a stage on the way to somewhere else. And whatever we do, however well we do it, it is only a preparation to do something else that shall be different. You see, we'll never, ever get to the place where there isn't something new to learn. We'll never get there. And that's the thrill, and that's the joy, and that's the wonder of life. That's the wonder of your life. So embrace it and be a learner. Because that's your destiny, my friends. So it is.
Welcome to the Sunday service at CSLN. We are a welcoming and inclusive community of inspired individuals caring for and about each other and the entire planetary family. The Center for Spiritual Living Nashville offers spiritual tools for anyone seeking a more fulfilled and meaningful life through a deeper connection with a higher power or universal truths. Be sure to subscribe below if you enjoy our programs.